So I'm not speaking from, oh man, what if this happened? It could be doomsday. I lived doomsday for 4 years. Do I think the boutique world is for everyone? No, I really don't. I used to say absolutely. When we first started this, I was in major depression, anxiety, in probably one of the darkest states that you can absolutely imagine. This business has allowed me to be able to have every dream accomplished.
Hey, before we start this episode, I have a huge favor to ask. I'm the CEO and one of the owners of GRACE+EMMA, and I am so proud that we get to sell to retailers all across this great country. One thing we are totally committed to is helping retailers in any way we can. And one of those ways is by doing the show. So what would really help me out, and for me to know is if this information is valuable, is if you can hit subscribe. And while you're hitting subscribe, go ahead and hit that like button too. It really helps the algorithm, but more than anything, it tells me this information is valuable and that we should keep working at it. With that being said, on to the episode. Jeaneane Pennell in the house. How's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. We've been talking about doing this for a while, is getting together and telling your story. I'm so glad to finally be doing this. You have no idea how excited I've been. Jeaneane is the owner and founder of Drop the Walls Boutique. She is amazing in every way. Like anything that you see on camera, she's literally like that in real life. And I'm so glad that Behind Brand Lines and GRACE+EMMA Wholesale is getting this opportunity to share with the world your story.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
I want to dive right in. Jeaneane, why don't you tell us the story of Drop the Walls?
Do you want to take a shot of whiskey for this one or some coffee? Please let me know because it's kind of one of those situations. I told Chris right before we did this, I was like, all right, I want to really sit down and think about what I'm going to say. And I was like, well, what if he says something about the story about Drop the Walls Boutique? And he was like, we got to start off with something funny. So the story of Drop the Walls Boutique isn't always the easiest story. When we first started this, I was in major depression, anxiety, in probably one of the darkest states that you can absolutely imagine. And if you would have told me, my young self, that I would be slinging clothes for a living, I would have laughed at you because I had no fashion sense. I didn't know what I was doing. And I definitely would not be surrounding myself with human beings and actually talking to humans because when I first started this business, like I said, I was just in such a dark place. And I kind of feel like Drop the Walls saved my life. And I know that not everyone quite can understand that. I don't think that everyone, for me, I don't want anyone to be at the bottom of the barrel, but that's where I was, like face down. I didn't know where to go. And I felt like that's exactly where the Lord wanted me to be, in order for me to be able to truly understand what resistance and hard work really look like. So I kind of feel like when we first started this, it was a ministry on not only helping myself, but it was a ministry to help other women who just didn't quite, they're just not in exactly where they needed to be. So I kind of felt like the Lord used Drop the Walls Boutique to help other people because I have a servant's heart. But in turn, it helped me to be who I am today. So when we first started, I had 3 kids. I was nursing Harper at the time, and we had started LuLaRoe at first. And then nothing against them. It was just no longer aligned with my why and what I was doing. So that's when we started this boutique. And if you would have told me that this is what I was going to be doing years later, I would have laughed at you. And I'm so thankful that we started it. My husband and I have been doing this since day one. A lot of people are always asking, what does your husband do for a living? And one part of me wants to say he works for me, but the reality is we work this business together. And if it was not for my husband working side by side, we would not have this incredible business that we have. And this business has allowed me to be able to have every dream accomplished, every single object that I wanted to purchase. But the reality is you can have all this materialistic things, but what Drop the Walls has actually allowed me to do is to have the freedom to be able to do what I really want, which is travel the world, help women, encourage women on a daily basis. And that's why we have stuck to doing this for 10 years. And I don't foresee us stopping anytime soon. But we definitely started this business when we were on Medicaid, didn't have any money. A lot of people always ask her, like, Jeaneane, can you please write a book? called Rags to Riches. To me, I'm thankful that our business is successful, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to say rags to blessings because it opened my eyes to that there's so much more to life than just making money. But the real reason for the truth, like why I feel like we are successful, is because I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing, which is encouraging other women to just be confident in their own skin.
I love that.
Hopefully, I answered that.
Yes, no, I love that you always talk about your why in everything. Anytime we have a conversation, that's kind of Jeaneane's thing is like she'll always make sure to thank the Lord, right? Counts her blessings, and she always talks about her real purpose. And often, like, in this business, you meet a lot of people that are just trying to make some money, and that's not what drives Jeaneane. She has a greater why, and we'll touch on that a little bit. I gotta know, how'd you get the name Drop the Walls?
Okay, so again, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're so brilliant. I can barely read a book without falling asleep. My vocabulary is almost non existent. But there is something that drives me more than anything in the world is I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like to have any type of limitations. And a lot of the times in this lifetime, I kind of felt like people limited me. They didn't understand my potential because I have a speech impediment. I have really bad ADHD. I stutter. I get nervous in public. And my anxiety borderline can be a little debilitating on a daily basis. It's really difficult for me to get up some days. And I just didn't want to be limited to anything anymore. So we named it Drop the Walls Boutique. It's actually my mom that actually answered it or named it. And it's dropping the walls and how do you say, conforming, like I don't want it to conform to what the world wants for me. I'm not normal. I'm not like everybody else. I don't fit the mold. I'm a 4'11" and a half Cuban crazy person, and I am one of the best models you'll ever meet because I have just learned that being the best version of myself, that's how I am successful in this life. And I don't, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't like rules, words, phrases controlling who I am. So I used to never say that I had ADHD. I used to never say that I had this disease. I didn't want those powers, those words, the strings that are attached to those words to say who I was as a person. I was actually talking to my daughter about that today. And I was telling her my biggest why now is to teach my children to not get their self-worth and their confidence, not from me, not from their customers, for the people around them. I want them to get their self-worth from the Lord and to just truly try their best to just not allow the influence of the outside world affect who they are as a person. I also don't want them to walk around like there's some top crap. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I also want them to stay humble, be kind. But I want people to understand that words have meaning. They're super powerful if you let them be. There are times growing up, I don't like to air out too much family drama. I just kind of feel like everyone has it and not everyone always wants to hear it. But growing up, I wasn't always told, especially being in a Cuban household, you're really never good enough. You don't clean good enough, you don't dress good enough, you don't have enough makeup on, you have too much makeup on, they say you're too skinny or you're too fat. Like, they are the vocal parents in this life, and it's really hard. And sometimes I just didn't feel good enough. And one thing growing up that was like probably like a huge pivotal moment in my life is my pastor told me, don't put me on a pedestal. I promise you, I'm going to let you down. And this is like a huge influence in my life for him to tell me like he was going to let me down. I was like, I'm going to use that because I never want my children to feel the way that I feel about like not being good enough for certain family members and stuff like that. So that is what that meant. It's like dropping the walls to, like, you always have to be poised. You always have to be perfectly polite. There is not one live that I go on that I do not belch like a man. It's a weird thing that I do, maybe because I talk so fast. And I just want my kids to understand, like, what you see on social media isn't real.
Yeah.
Everyone has webs in their closets. The difference between me and everybody else is I just show them. And I'm fine with that. Like, I have nothing to hide. And I just wanted people to know that they're accepted for exactly who they are. You've got depression, come shop from me. You have anxiety, come shop from me. You have only one leg, come shop from me. You feel fat, come shop from me. You have cellulite. I wanted people to understand that they are welcomed exactly where they are at the moment. Now, that's not what we always like. I do want them to know they are welcome, they are accepted. I don't want people to stop there, though. I do want people to always try to become the best version of themselves. Like right now, I'm trying to really work on my potty mouth. I can say the F word like it's the word it's the way my husband was in the military. I was raised Cuban. The F word is kind of like the D word for other cultures. But for me, it's not a bad word. And this is something that I'm like been convicted about. Like you can't teach Wednesday night church and then be flinging the F word all the time. So, I do believe in being the best version of myself and owning who I am. But I also kind of feel like you can always do better than you did yesterday.
I think what hearing how you came up with this name, like it's almost like you came up with Drop the Walls as a way that you don't fit in this box. Now I mean if anyone who's watched your lives will know that you are encouraging people not to put themselves in a box and to
Right.
almost drop those walls on their thinking and to be able to take this journey and give grace to themselves in the process, like that no one's perfect, but that's the journey is what makes us perfect. Now let's drop the walls on something technical for a little bit, because one thing that a lot of boutique owners do get nervous about, especially when they see an online boutique, is like, what platform do I get on? A lot of people are like, should I do Shopify? Should I do comment sold? Should I set up on Wix and then try to like do the shop feature in there? Like, how do you guys have your platform set up?
Okay, so I can tell you I'm not the best at this. I can just tell you what has worked for us. But before I even mention that, I do want you to know that it is okay to try something, fail, and pivot quickly. And that is one thing that I really want to hone in on. So for me, it is Facebook. Facebook, no matter what, has been our heavy hitter. Maybe because I'm older. So that is where my people are. But I have been told by multiple people, including yourself, that which by the way, really quick, so this will be off the microphone. I don't know how you say that, but I can tell you right now that Adil has been one of those humans in our life that has been a true friend of ours since. I mean, since the first day that we started shopping with you guys, which wait, 3 years, 4 years, I don't know. I'm not one to quote on facts, but the reality is I can tell you that a huge portion of our success is coming to who do you sharpen your iron with? Iron sharpens iron, right? So at the end of the day, you guys have been a huge motivation for us, a pace partner, a business partner that you can run ideas by. And that's why, like, I love when you ask me questions, but I know I don't always have the best answers. But if you have 8 of us in a room, we're going to find the best answer. So I just want to thank you for being a great pace partner. There's a couple of points that I want to be prepared for that actually had a lot to do with you helping me get focused, because when I have ADHD, it's really difficult for me to stay focused. Okay, so back to point, the platforms. So we first started off on Facebook and it was an accident, just showing things on live. I actually
Yeah.
did that in LuLaRoe. Okay. I was one of the very first people to sling leggings on live. And I am just really good at live. I like talking to people. I'm also really lazy. So for me, I'm one of the hardest working lazy people you're going to imagine. For me, it's just easier to show stuff on live, to talk about it, engage in it. I'm not the best at writing. So writing these beautiful, long, exquisite descriptions for an item is not my gift. So going live was going to be the best thing. And you can't always have personality through writing. At least I struggle with that. So I started off with Facebook. And then we got a hold of Comment Sold. Comment Sold got a hold of us. And when we were using Comment Sold, we feel like right now we're just on Comment Sold and Facebook. We don't think that that's a wise decision. So we started off with Shopify. We dropped it. There was some issues with our account that we couldn't fix. So we're actually just starting a brand new Shopify. And we just think that you should have your items in more than two places. So, heaven forbid something were to happen to comment sold. Do you know how hard it would be to go input 5,000 SKUs? I don't do it, but I know it's hard for my husband. So, like I think I tried inputting maybe 3 items my entire life with our business. I couldn't even tell you how. But anyway, so Shopify connected to your comment sold. Let's say you want to do something different. Then you have your Shopify as a backup. The comment sold website is fantastic for now. But if I really want to expand my business, which I wasn't ready for quite yet, remember, I'm not driven by money. So
Mhm.
to sit there and grow my business for what? Unless I actually want to, I'm not going to. I don't need to, which I'm thankful for. But I'm kind of to the point where I'm ready to rock and roll. If I do want to take some time for myself and not always be on live, I have to have a better website. So I got together with the lady who does our advertisement. I got together with the business manager, and she was like, it's really just time. So in order for us to look a little bit more professional, a little bit more chic, you need to have Shopify for a better website. So that's one thing that I had to learn, to accept help and accept some constructive feedback, especially from people who I respect. And that's one thing that we're adding to our platforms this year. I do use Instagram. I use Instagram more as a backup because I think that you should always plan on your baskets getting flipped over. And I am not that good on TikTok. I grew a following overnight. I think we have like 200,000 followers. I didn't even know how I did it. But I don't fit the mold for a live girl for TikTok. I don't want to be on live for 4 hours. And I really don't. I'm sorry. I love those women who are like, let's go. We're going to go live for 6 hours. That's just not what brings me joy. And
Yeah.
yes, it's going to bring my family more money. I'm okay. I think I want my sanity more than my bank's filled. I mean, I do. I need my bank's filled, but I don't want to be fake. So that's very difficult for me. So we have a new idea for how we're going to use TikTok. And I actually have a TikTok expert just coming to my house tomorrow. I don't know everything. I am not a know-it-all. I'm a learn-it-all. I want to be the best at everything. But at this age, because I'm close to 40, I am learning that you are only good as the knowledge that you have, and I don't know everything.
Yeah.
So instead, I hired a girl to help me with my ads better. I hired another lady to help me with not my finances. I already have a financial advisor. I had a lady who is going to like kind of analyze. I'm not an analyzer either. I'm really fun and exciting and a really hard worker, but analyzing things and numbers, not my thing. So she's going to analyze and be like, you know what? You need to go deeper in jeans. You need to buy more jewelry. I think this is great. Or, hey, you should probably only buy one pack in that. I think I'm to the point where easy, dumb luck is not always going to be what's going to help me to be successful anymore. I think, again, working hard was great. But if you don't learn how to conform and pivot quickly, I don't think that you'll last in this boutique world. I think that you'll be devoured.
No, absolutely. I think you're one thing, and it seems like now after hearing you talk about it, the way you've set up your Instagram and TikTok, I thought it was intentional. I think it's pretty genius how it's set up. Like you entertain on Instagram and TikTok. Like, so if you haven't seen Jeaneane's content, her and her family do some amazing, funny content that like, I think that's why people really follow you on those platforms is because they just think of you as like just a hilarious person and how your family interacts with each other. It's just good entertainment value in terms of following. Once they start to follow you, they start to learn by watching your stories, by seeing your other posts, that you sell clothes, right? So if they really love you, it kind of funnels them into download my app and then watch me go live every day, right? So it kind of builds trust at a very high level. I think TikTok lives, it doesn't build very much trust if that's all you do is you just go live.
Right.
And you often see on the TikTok pages where they have lots and lots of lives going on, they don't have very many followers. Like people don't buy into their community. But you have this natural draw for a community, right? So, like, I personally love watching your lives. You have a natural tendency to connect with people over camera. And I think it's amazing how you do it. I just need to know like what's your secret sauce for creating this loyal following?
Okay, hold on. This one, I definitely wanted to make sure that I was mindful in what I said because I think that I've also done a lot of mistakes. And I think that's where I have learned as I've grown up what not to do and then what to
Yeah.
do. So I'm not, I don't like to ever talk like, oh, doomsday. I also kind of feel like people are very much attracted to confident humans, but I also want you to know I don't always have it together. So I want to make sure I cover on that. So make sure you take me back. So number one, when it comes to getting that really, really, really strong following is one, you can't be thinking that everyone's gonna be your follower. Like you need to be stop thinking about people as a money thing. I can't stand that. Everything is sales, sales, sales. That's why I don't do sale post because I just don't believe in that. It drives me absolutely crazy. I want to follow someone because they're just genuinely nice. Okay. So that was like, that's not a point. That's just something I wanted to make sure I said before. It's something that drives me crazy. But number one, for real, is be yourself. Everyone else is freaking taken. I told you I got a stuttering problem. I'm 4'11" and a half. I don't really know much about clothes, right? But here I am, one of the top boutiques in America. Why? Because I just have settled into just accepting who I am as a person. I think that a lot of times people want to mold to be someone else or this and this and this. I have tons of people who hate me and I have tons of people who love me. And I'm okay for being loved for who I am and to be loved for someone who I'm not. So I'm
Amen.
perfectly fine just being myself. I can promise you that's not always the way that I was raised. Like, oh, you need to be quiet or you talk too much. Really? Because some of the people who talk the most and are the most like disruptive in class end up being the best human beings that I've ever
Yeah.
met. I like the fact that I don't fit the mold. I like the fact that I don't always have the perfect reputation. And the reason why is because I'm not fake. You're not going to find me being someone different behind closed doors. I'm going to be the same exact now from 9 to 3, I'm super structured. Like I just told my husband he was trying to kiss me and distract me and just talk about some stuff. And I'm like, I love you, but from 9 to 3, I just we got to keep the line in we're employees right now. And I know that
Yeah.
sounds horrible because he's my husband, he's my best friend. But in order for me to be the structured human that I want to be and run a business and still work part time, I need people to respect my boundaries. So,
Amen.
number one, in being myself is so important. There are some people, and I've asked them, I'm like, how are you so successful? Like, I just need to know. I'm not scared to ask them. And when I read, because I had 2 years where I wasn't very confident in who I was, and she's like, you just gotta be yourself. And I was like, I freaking created that. Like, I'm the one that used to say this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I was the one that was on stage, 10,000 women following with a line out the window to get to know me out the door. I know this answer. Now I just have to believe this answer. That's
Yeah.
where I have kind of lost my ways here. We had some personal issues here in the last 2 years that really made me lose my sparkle, and I've just recently been finding it. So that's number one, be yourself. Everyone else is freaking taken. Number two is you actually need to be thankful for the customers that you have. They have a choice to shop from absolutely everywhere. I genuinely am thankful for them. I don't actually believe in doing giveaways. I only do them sometimes, but this week I did a giveaway for a Louis Vuitton purse. I've never done that. Okay. It's not my thing. I don't like to look cheesy or corny, that kind of stuff. Again, that's just not my vibe. But for some odd reason, this week I was like, you know what? My
Giving.
customers are the best, like the best. Okay. I will publicly do a giveaway. Okay. And the reason why I say publicly, we do good stuff behind closed door all the time. But I just don't believe in being the person that tells your right hand what your left hand is doing. I don't need the admiration from humans around me to tell me I'm doing a good job. I am doing a good job. I know I am. I know I'm a good person. We literally have our names, Drop the Walls Boutique, on all kinds of little football players' jerseys. Never met these kids. We do good stuff all the time. But sometimes you really just should do an open, fun giveaway like that just to say thank you. And this lady today, Erica Diaz, she won. And The reason why I'm smiling and telling you this story is that girl steals my size 6 corgis every freaking day. And I forget every day to buy them. So I have no corgis because she buys them. So I did tell her today, I said, I'm giving you this Louis Vuitton purse, but I want you to know you owe me size 6 corgis. I'm going to have to go start shopping in her closet. But anyways, the whole point is you need to be thankful for your customers. Your customers can shop from absolutely anyone, but they choose every day to support you. So be grateful. I've heard of so many boutiques who are so hateful to their customers. And don't get me wrong, I'm saying this and slapping my hand at the same time because do not think that I have not lost it on people before. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm short circuited. I'm short. Actually, I am a little bit short circuited half the time, but I have an anger problem too. I can sit there and snap on people. But the reality is your customers are the reason why your dreams are happening. So stay humble. Remember, it can all be taken away tomorrow. And you just need to be genuinely thankful and actually care about your customers. There is just, I don't know, like there's just some people I just kind of feel like they think that they're entitled to it. And this is something like, I just don't believe in that. I believe that you need to be thankful and stay humble because the reality is all of this can be taken away tomorrow if the Lord decide that it's enough. And
Yeah.
that's something I'm trying to teach my children. So like when my children came and work for me, I make them start from the bottom. I don't believe that the kids can, okay, this is another off the, I was actually listening to Gary Vee one time in his book, and he's like, all right, this is for my audio listeners. You guys get the best. And he was saying, he was like, this is the small print. I would never go work for a company where the child was handed over the company. There's no freaking way. They don't have the grit, the tenacity, the dirt. They don't have the stains. They don't have the tears in their eyes. Well, guess what? If I want my daughter Lexi to take over our company, you better believe that I want her to respect the shippers. I want her to respect the customers. I want her to respect the inputters. I want my daughter to respect absolutely everyone. So you better believe she's going to be taking out the trash from day one first. And that was something that I can tell you that I feel like I'm praying that that's preparing my children to be able to take over my company in the future. All right. So be thankful for your customers, but genuinely, for the love of God, please value them. They're not just another number. You can make a massive impact in these customers' lives if you genuinely care about them. I don't have customers. I have the most epic following. And I think, what's funny is because my following is so big, sometimes my sales don't always align with that, but it's because these aren't customers. These are 100%, just like you said, they're followers from a lot of our videos because that's how we truly impact this world, not through clothes, but through how we make people feel. Number 3, stop being a stick in the mud. Nobody wants to watch the perfectly poised human, okay? Listen, that's fine. For some people, that's fine. But can I tell you, the fact that I'm just not perfectly poised is why I can probably keep people entertained. And don't get me wrong, there's a time and place. I'll go to political events and I will behave at political events. When I go to church, I behave at church. But you're selling clothes. This
Yeah.
can be light. It doesn't have to be heavy. It can be fun. It can be exciting. And if you're constantly just talking about small 2-6, medium 8-10, you're not a robot. So stop trying to be a robot. At least that's what works for me. Okay. There are some shows where that's great. They're perfectly polished and in line. I'm not selling perfectly polished clothes. I am selling clothes that is fun, exciting. I want this clothes to exude confidence. I want people to feel accepted. And I have noticed, I have a friend of mine named Pam. She is the most I don't care personality in the entire world. Why am I gravitate her like, okay, you know that machine that goes like this at the fair? What was that called? Like the
The carousel?
Gravitron. I am
Or the one,
attracted to
yeah.
her like a freaking Gravitron. Why? Because she just makes me feel light. Like there's nothing wrong with the world. Everything is great. The poppy of the world. That's what works for me. And I think because I exude that happiness, I always tell people, like, I think the reason why you really think that you like me is because you see the Jesus in me, the loving person, the kind person, the gracious person, the person who accepts you for who you are. That's why I don't keep it so serious because I just want people to feel welcomed. And when you get with your friends, you don't act perfectly polished. You start acting like buffoons. I just want to be a buffoon the moment I meet you instead. I want everyone to feel like my best friends, because isn't that what we all want in this lifetime, is to have great friends, an amazing spouse, and to just be seen for who we are and not have to put a wall on how I need to behave. So as long as
100%.
you're not being crazy, okay? But that's how I feel. And then lastly, I want to say to be truthful and relatable. I kind of feel like, we've experienced this lifetime more than most people. Like, I have gone to 40 states. The only states I haven't physically touched is the Northeast. So you've got Maine, Rhode Island, and I'm ready, dude. Like, let's freaking go. I'm already gonna be there. But I also feel like, because I have been able to experience life so much, that I was so scared I wasn't going to appreciate little things. I still freaking appreciate the small things. I still cry when I look at fireworks. I still get excited. I have never gotten too big for my britches. And that is one thing that I just am truthful about almost anything. And the reason why, except for like if it's a personal issue, like we had some issues with our son for a couple of years. I don't care what anyone says. You're not going to know every dirty detail about that because it's none of your business. And I have said it like that. Like, I know that you care and I know that you probably want to know, but this isn't a reality show where I'm getting paid millions of dollars for telling you my dirty truths. I'm going to protect my son because that's why I do this in the first place. So there, I will lay boundaries on truth telling. But as long as it's not involved with my kids, if it's just my husband and I will talk about anything. And I just think that if you don't lie, or you actually practice what you preach, and you say what like, you just don't like, how do I say, don't sit there and be like, this is the most amazing shirt in the entire planet. And dude, it's just a freaking basic shirt. It's not that big of a deal. I just think that you'll just live and more people will trust you if if they know that you are just truthful. So like, if it's a great shirt. It's not the highest quality, but it's a freaking great price. That's what I'm calling it. I'm not like, this is the best quality item in the entire world. I'm just going to say that this is a freaking nice shirt. It's comfortable and it's a great freaking price. So instead of just getting one, you can get 10 of them. You get a stain on it, it's going to be okay. So I just believe in just being super truthful. I'm also too stupid to try to figure out what I said yesterday. So as long as what I'm saying is aligned every single day, I don't have to make anything up. And then I probably would want to say number 5 would be relatable. I think a lot of times, like, I'm sorry, I'm just not the dancing person. I thought I was, and I tried that, like those TikToks. I can't memorize lines. I can't memorize dance moves to save my life, maybe because I've gotten too old, but it's just not aligned with what I actually am naturally good at. So, how am I relatable? My husband always leaves all of his dirty clothes on the floor, right next to the basket. He always leaves his toothbrush out. So, guess what? I may not be the cute little dancing boutique with all the cute clothes. And for those of you who are like that, kudos to you. I'm really proud of you. I just don't have that in me. But what I can do is wear a cute little lounge set while I'm picking up my husband's dirty clothes, because I'm actually really mad about that. And that's what I'm talking about being relatable. I think everyday things should be recorded. Like, my husband just created, it's getting cold now, but we meal prep because I really want to lose weight and I just want to stay super healthy. So he sits there and he records him meal prepping. We are making nothing from that video. I don't care. This is who we are. And I don't want customers. I want a following. I want people who genuinely loves us. Because when all of a sudden you get a really mean person on your post, I don't have to say anything. My following, they protect me till the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to be known for. I want to be known for being someone who's giving, who cares, who genuinely cares, and who's not putting on a show, who's a fake, who's relatable, and who's someone who's like the girl next door, but she just looks really cute doing it. So
No, I
that's
love that.
how I have made that.
Yeah, I think that's what gives people, I mean, look at anyone's lives. You're not just working all the time, right? So you're not just like, you are maybe a mom, a dad, or there's like so many aspects. When you give a peek into the different aspects of your life, it shows depth. It doesn't show that You know, you're not just like it's not like you only have the camera on right when you're ready to sell, because that's inauthentic. But when you share meal prepping or when you belch, like you said, those things that makes you so real, and it makes, as a viewer, feel better about yourself, because there's oftentimes I'll go through TikTok or Instagram. I put my phone down. I'm just like, I just feel a little bit more like shit than I did before starting. But
Right.
then watching your lives, I'm like, you know what? I feel better about myself. Not because in comparison, but I'm just like, I've learned to like accept, hey, these are the things that I can't change about me, but these are the things that I am working on and I will continue to improve on. So that's great. Now, there's probably in all the lives you've done and all the customer interactions you've had, you've probably had some really bizarre requests from your customers. What's something that's like probably the most bizarre request you've had, whether it's through a comment, DM, in person?
Okay, so I kind of struggled with this one. So that was one thing that I was very thankful for. This is my very first podcast I've ever been on. So for those of you watching that don't know, Adil's been trying to get me on podcasts for a really long time. But I believe if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it 10,000%. Growing up, it's funny, I had a dad who never cussed. But he did tell me if you're going to do something, you're not going to do it half-assed. And anytime he would say it, I was like, it's like if he told me he drank a beer. I thought my life was going to be over if he actually said he drank a beer, which come to find out he did, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. But it's funny. Anyway, so the whole point was if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. So I did ask Indio, I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm prepared because I'm a major blabber. So I did have a little bit of time to do a little bit of research. And this one might be a little bit of a tearjerker, so I'm not going to physically watch you while I say it. I'm just going to try my best to get through it without losing it. Okay. So, I have this one saying that's called, even if it's hard, do it anyways. Okay. So I know a lot of people can see me and flip through and be like, she's confident. She is so cute. She's so adorable, blah, blah, blah. That's not always the case. Sometimes I really struggle. I'm super insecure a lot of times. And there's a lot of times where I always am mind manipulating myself to make me think like I'm not good enough or I'm hard to love, or maybe I'm not the best. And I don't know what it's called. It's like I try to minimize who I am as a person. And it's really difficult to be in that state because it's like I'm Heckle and Clyde. How do you say that? Jekyll
Yeah.
and Clyde? What?
Yeah, Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that. That's what ADHD people are, okay? So we are either the most exciting humans on the planet or we are falling apart. And that's why you see amazing people. Oh my gosh, what was his name? Mrs. Doubtfire?
Oh, Robin Williams. Yeah.
Robin Williams. You see amazing people like Robin Williams who they look like they have it all freaking together and they're the stars of the show and they're taking their lives. So the reality is you're not always know what's going on in people's lives. And that's why I don't act fake and act perfect on camera. Like I want people to see me for exactly who I am because I can't live in that shadow. I don't want to pretend to be someone who I'm not. So, because that's how I speak, my customers have learned to come out of the closet, for the lack of better words, to stop hiding who they are, to stop hiding the fact that they've had suicidal thoughts, or they're depressed, or they maybe try to take their life. I've never tried to take my life, but I did pray at one point. I can remember to this day, this is a part of my book, one of the things that I'm writing in my book. And so, by the way, in my book, it says I've never publicly said this. So I'm not taking back on it. This is the first time I've publicly said this. But just so you know, that sentence, it's not a lie on my book at the time when I was writing it. But I had prayed. I can remember it was Harper. I've never been able to physically say it was Harper. And I was like with Harper, I was pregnant with her, and our lives were just so rough. We had no money. We were on Medicaid. I was in a really dark place. I wouldn't leave the house. And I could remember to this day sitting on my bed and being like, Lord, can you just take me? Like, take me, take my daughter. Um, the week before, or a couple weeks before, I had a guy who was just malicious and called CPS on our family. Mind you, I was teaching upward. Which is this really cute little cheer thing at church, and it's just adorable. You're just pretty much just like corralling little wild ferrets. I mean, they're freaking crazy, all these little kids. And I loved it. I literally genuinely loved it. And I was not hurting my children. Okay. I was actually very organized and would have all their food lined up and I kind of cooked back then and I would, make their peanut butter and jelly in fun little circles. Now I'm like, dude, make your own peanut butter. You're freaking fine. Let's go.
Yeah.
So back then, for anyone to call CPS on me was really difficult. And I just felt like I was raped of all my dignity and respect. And I just really didn't feel like I could trust anyone. And I couldn't. Like at that time, it was really,
Yeah.
really difficult. So I just didn't feel like being the best mom, being involved, being in church, being the best wife, loyal to my husband, like doing everything right, that your life can just blow up in shambles overnight. And that's why when you talked earlier, like stay humble and be kind because you never know what could happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Talk about like just completely stirring me up. It was horrible. I don't know why the Lord allowed that to happen. And maybe it's because now I'm a little bit more relatable and I can understand depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts much deeper. And I'm kind of thankful for that time because it helped me be more relatable. Well, fast forwarding to the most bizarre request. I tell this story and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel ashamed about it because it also brought me to my knees where I need to be, where I realized I am no one without my Heavenly Father. If I did not have my faith in the Lord, I would still not be here today. And instead of putting my faith in the Lord, I was trying to work harder. I was trying to do everything myself. But the reality is I'm only as good as my faith and the people around me. Like being by myself was no longer something that was going to work. So I was at the bottom of a barrel, face down, and just praying. Like, I'm thinking, like, Lord, just take me. Like, I don't know if I thought, like, maybe the Lord was just going to give me a heart attack and we were going to go right then. Like, let's freaking go. Good thing the Lord answers our request the way that He wants, not the way that we want. And I have shared this story a little bit less intimate to multiple people, especially on my platform. And this one lady, I won't say her name just to not be crazy. I had said something like, in this lifetime, you get what you tolerate. So make sure that you are laying down boundaries. Make sure that you know that if you are here on this earth, that that's where the Lord wants you. He wants you here, that you are perfect the way the Lord made you. She was in the process of about to slit her wrist right then and there. I
Okay.
don't know what made me say this story, but maybe it's because I had a phone call. I don't know. Those were such dark ages when I was growing up that I can tell you right now, I don't remember always the good that was happening to me because I was so being impacted by the negative. But what if, like, I always try to listen to these little God moments, and all of a sudden in the middle of a spiel, I'm like, dude, I got to tell you something. I know I got to sell you this jean shirt, but I just want you to know the Lord loves you, that you are freaking awesome just the way that you are. Come to find out, me stopping my entire life for those little moments have actually saved women's lives. That is not me, that is the Lord. And this was the one. It's not a bizarre moment. I haven't had a bizarre moment. I mean, like the men that are on there are kind of weird to me, but like that's a part of the game of being online. But this was one of those God's kisses, God's angel wings, I don't
Yeah.
know, holy blessings, I don't know what you want to call it, we can name it something later. But this was one of those moments where she said, Jeaneane, if it was not you telling me to have value in myself, I would have stayed in this abusive relationship. She literally was taken to the hospital from being abused by her husband or her boyfriend multiple times and stayed with him. I already told Chris one time, raise a hand at me, do anything vile to me. Oh, I'll show you who the lion is. So I'm just not someone who tolerates that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
those of you on the other end, I get everyone has a different journey, but I can promise you there's another way. And you are going to make it all on your own. You're going to be fine. So I did one of those moments for this girl, and she got away. She got away from her abusive spouse. He ended up going to jail, and now she is living the best version of her life. And the bizarre request was, Jeaneane, can you please write me a note, handwritten note? And I was like, yes, ma'am. Look, I get so teared up. I get so choked up. And I was like, this is a weird request to me because I don't see people and be like, oh, I want a handwritten note from you. But in this situation, I 100% understand. So I wrote her a note that says, even if it's hard, do it anyways.
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's going to just laminate it, stick it on her mirror the way that I do for special like scriptures or special quotes, or like my grandma. I got this thing about my grandma, special notes for my grandma. She tattooed it on her arm,
Wow.
my handwriting and my name on her arm. I've always been so honored about that. And I'm so thankful that I'm so thankful that the Lord used me just to put a little light into this world. And even if all the heartache that I went to was only for this one woman, I would do it again tomorrow. Because, man, if I was in that dark of a situation, I wish someone would sacrifice everything just to save me. You know what I mean? Like, I was so thankful. And I'm so thankful that I'm obedient. And that is one thing that everyone's like, tell me your key to success. I obey what the Lord tells me to do. Like, if the Lord's like, stop right now. And again, I know it sounds kind of crazy and weird, and maybe I am a little crazy and weird, but you can't tell me that taking 30 seconds out of your life to just tell someone that they're beautiful, that's what keeps me motivated every single day. Selling clothes doesn't. I'm sorry. I do love clothes. I love people so much more than clothes. And I've had moments like those one moments. I almost keep saying her name, but I want to make sure I'm respectful. If those people, I'm going to say Susie. Her name's not Susie, but just to have a name. If the Susies in the world need someone like me to give them confidence, I will stop everything I'm doing every single day to do that. And those type of moments, that one Susie is representing one of hundreds who have
Yeah.
stopped me in my tracks. Um, and look, don't get me wrong. I get the ones that stop me and say, I love your boutique because of the clothes. That's fine. I need to make money too. I do have to pay my bills, but it's the ones that stop me in my tracks and they're always shaking. Look, I never cry, but this one I cry. The ones that come up to me and they're like, man, if you wouldn't have said that, I would still be in an abusive relationship. If you wouldn't have said that, I would still be at that dead end job, or I'd be hating my life, or I'd be the amount of things that we get that people tell us is you would be shocked. Or, hey, I got on meds for once. I got on meds because I wasn't doing good. And most of them have come up to me physically shaking. I haven't figured that one out yet. I haven't understood the physical shaking part. Um, but I can promise you, if the Susies in the world keep coming up to me and telling me things like, hey, attaboy, thank you for saying that, I have a feeling that I'll be in business for a lifetime, because I don't think I'll stop. I don't think I'll quit, because I know if the Lord can use this sweet little business as a really cool ministry to help other women, you'd do that for free, wouldn't you?
Everything that I know about you, from your upbringing to your relationship with Tati, your grandma, like, they are probably so freaking proud of you with the impact
Thank you.
you've had. And I'm proud of you, but like the people that brought you up, like they have a different sense of pride because, they've impacted you in different ways too. And I know your upbringing wasn't easy, but like whether it's positive or negative, what you did with that is so positive. And I just wanted to say, like, we're all so proud of you for the impact you have on so many. It's really
Well,
amazing to
thank
watch.
you. I appreciate it.
Um, we do get a lot of boutiques on a daily basis that sign up and say, I really want to start a boutique. And likewise, like, we also have boutiques that say, hey, after so many years, I'm closing my doors, right? So the people that are coming in, there's kind of this, they're learning, they're trying to figure things out. So something that you and I have spoken about a lot is how boutiques should consider thinking of their boutique as a brand. They need to understand what makes them different and why people like really shop with them. So what would you say is your brand if you were to kind of encapsulate it?
All right, so this one makes me laugh every single time, because once again, I'm not the analytical one. Okay, this is not my gift. So this is where I know I had one point somewhere in here that says you need to learn how to ask for help. This was me like waving the white flag, and I called a deal. There was a couple other people that I called, and I was like, bro, I know I'm doing something wrong. Can you please kind of teach me? And what happened was, is I was actually, I don't, for again, for those of you not everyone sits there and follows and watches every single video of mine. Obviously, you don't have time. But I was really struggling mentally for 2 years. I had a troubled child. I had an assistant who had some issues going on in their life. My grandmother died. My best freaking friend, like Tati, was like, it went like Jesus and Tati and then my husband. And I know that sounds crazy because your husband's supposed to come first, but my grandmother was my biggest cheerleader, and her dying rocked my world. And it's just hard. So the last 2 years have just been a struggle. And then now let's just talk about the superficial stuff. The business ups and downs. That's a freaking struggle that nobody talks about. The boutique world is like this: up, down, roll. It's a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, think about it right now. If I go to Busch Gardens, I go to Disney, I'm like, this is awesome. Oh my God, I'm going to throw up. This is awesome. That is what being a boutique owner is. People are going to pretend like it's not, and that's fantastic that they're so graced and poised. It's exactly what it is. I wish I could post you the pictures of me on Tower of Terror. I was like, yeah, yeah. And then like that is being a business owner in a freaking nutshell. I can make a gift about it. But I didn't really know what my brand was because I'm a little bit good at everything. So I called you and I was like, if you could tell me three great things that you know me for, what were they? And I had, by the grace of God, I had written a lot of the things down that you had written. So for me, I have a lot of respect for the Stanleys. You got the Macy's, the Dillards. Everyone knows their brand because of whatever their key point is. When you think of Drop the Walls Boutique, I am all over the place, just like my personality. But as a business owner, just because I have ADHD and have a really hard time concentrating doesn't mean that I don't have more potential. That just means I need someone to help channel me and focus me a little bit more. So when I had that conversation with you, I was very thankful that I was getting pretty aligned to what my new goals are, because I have some new goals for this year. So when it comes to finding out your brand or your focal point or your goal, you might have to ask a friend. Okay. Some of you are really good at that. Like the Lady Butte, she is fantastic at her marketing with her beautiful packaging and all of her stuff. And she stays so focused. So if I wanted my branding to be beautiful like that, I'm just going to go ask her how she did it. She tells me no, that's fine. She didn't tell me no. She said she would help me. But the fact is I've had to learn specifically on this. This is not my expertise. I had to go find help. So for me, thankfully you helped me with this. I had 3 focal points. I'm really, really, really good at these 3 things. So when I'm ordering my products now, if it is not aligned with these 3 things, I still buy it. I buy it shallow, and I just buy a couple of packs, nothing super heavy, period. But things I know how to sell like a champ, that's aligned with who I am as a person, that I am willing to buy more of. Granted, not an expert at this. I'm just figuring it out today. Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I figured it out. So these are my 3 things that I'm good at. I'm really good at making people feel good. And I am. I can't tell you how to do that. It is a God given blessing. I'm not being humble. I genuinely care about people. So this comes easy to me. Okay. I genuinely love people. Selling wellness products, selling feel good things, talking to people about working out, selling workout clothes. This is aligned with my one focal point that I'm really, really good at. So these are the things I naturally can sell good. Number 2, I'm really good at looking good. Let me rephrase that. Okay. That's how I wrote it. I really want people to feel good in their own skin. I really do. I have been 170 pounds. I've been 110. And right now, I don't know where I'm at right now. 130, 135. I'm a little thick, but not too thick. Like I'm right in the middle. It does not matter if I am 110 or 170 pounds. Do not think that I would not be in a shapewear on live. And now, it's not what I want to do, but how am I going to exude telling people to be confident in their own skin, and then the one mama on stage isn't confident in her own skin? So that's why I wear it, because I want people to understand, to just feel confident exactly where they are in their skin. Now, I'm not going to go sit there and wear a thong back on camera, but the reality is that's another thing that I can kind of go deeper in. So you've got swimsuits in that one. You've got feel good stuff, something to make the everyday woman feel sexy. I know not everyone has the confidence to do that. This is one of my branding points I'm working on. And then number 3 was celebration. I could throw a party like no one's business. If I have 50 people invited to my party, 65 are coming. I can tell you I don't know why, because I don't even enjoy the actual party. I enjoy setting up for the party. It's my absolute obsession. So I'm actually known for the best Christmas and the best Halloween. At our house, we genuinely have 4,000 trick-or-treaters. We've counted it. Our gate tells it to us. It's so bad that I had to literally close my front gate because we were like finding candy. We have 4 acres, and somehow in the ends of all of my acres, there's candy everywhere. And I was like, I cannot clean up candy for 4 days. So, anyways, this is what we're known for. We've had this massive Christmas display at our house where people stop and they look at our house. So when it comes to Christmas and Halloween, dude, I'm buying deep in it because I genuinely love it. It is very easy for me to sell something that is red and green and has sparkles in it and a pumpkin with orange with the big googly eyes. Like, I'm like, it's like Disney to me. It just brings me joy naturally. Okay. So when it comes to branding, you need to kind of find stuff that you're naturally good at. It took me a really long time to sell mixology. There's nothing wrong with mixology. I think it's great. I really suck at words. It's not my gift. I don't know how to describe things. I'm like, it smells like freaking coconut, buy it. Like, that's literally what I say on camera because it said something like this, vivacious, like all these big words. And I'm like, it smells like coconut. That's how I talk. And yes, understand you need to have a certain level of grace and poise and professional. It's just not really my gift. Again, remember, I am professional at political events and that's about it. But I don't go heavy in anything that's not my natural gift. And I always can get better. And that's why, like last week, again, my orders are not crazy big, but last week was my biggest order yet with mixology. And I kind of wanted a golden star because, hey, this dummy just learned big words. Okay. So I'm just kind of proud of myself. So I do believe in trying new things, but sometimes you really also need to stay focused on the three main things that you are best at. So, like for me, it was feeling good, looking good, and then celebration, which I know is kind of all over the place, but naturally, these are my gifts. But then I can also put in there some other stuff I'm just not going to go heavy in at all.
So honored that you put so much weight on what we talked about that day to get these three down. But it is truly like your brand. Like when I think about it, and you had said something like when you were trying to define this, like for any new boutique owners who are trying to figure out what they're best at, if you want to know what your brand is, it's what people say about your brand when you're not in the room, right? And so if you open the door for someone to be very authentic and tell you exactly what they think about what you're good at, there may be some things you don't like because you may want to hear that, oh, you're really good at selling um, basics, right? But like, if that's not why people come to you and they come to you for jewelry and that's what you're really, really good at, then, let that be part of your brand and really own it. So boutiques have gone through quite the evolution. We've been talking a lot um, about online and stuff. Boutiques, when they first started, like, you go 15 years back, it was brick and mortars, a lot of one-on-one selling, right? So if you had that brick and mortar experience, and now it's one to many. So on any given point I get onto your lives, there's a few hundred people watching. How can someone make a shift going from brick and mortar to then one to many selling?
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that I reiterate this. I failed at brick and mortar. It's not my thing. Okay. I think I had the store open for 3 months. And after that, I was like, dude, this isn't for me. And let me tell you why. It was not aligned with my why. It's just not. And I don't want to sit there and be open. And maybe someone's going to come by, maybe someone's going to not. I don't want to sit there and do returns. It's just not my personal opinion. Like, it's just not what I'm naturally good at. But I'm really good at entertaining people because I just naturally am a happy person. I love the Lord. I love humans. It's the way that I am. But that can be something that's kind of scary. Here's the thing. I don't think that live selling is for everybody. I really don't. I really don't. But I do believe that if you do not learn to evolve, you will die. And one thing I can promise you in this lifetime is that change is inevitable. You don't have a choice. Your world is always going to be evolving on a daily basis. So you better freaking learn how to do it. So whether you're going to go live, whether you are going to be online, whether you are going to do your online marketing, that's on you. But whatever you can't do, you better hire someone to do it fast. So for me, I'm not a long-winded. I can talk long-winded, but to sell long-winded, it's never going to happen. For now, unless I'm desperate, then I would. Gotta stay humble, remember. But my daughter, like TikTok, everyone, remember, I sit there, I practice what I preach. I asked for help and they said, you need to be on TikTok. I am not what's best for TikTok. But what I can do is have my daughter on there for 2 hours doing whatever she's selling. Then I'll come on for an hour and then I'm out. So the reality is you're right. Maybe the brick and mortar isn't getting as much business it is. Well, either you move your brick and mortar onto the most incredible location where you have a bunch of tourists or you have a million people or you're over here in an airport. I don't know how brick and mortars make it. When I walk in and there's 10 people, I'm like, I really don't know how you're making it. But again, that's just my personal opinion. But if you want to make it online, I just kind of feel like you have to try everything and you have to see what works for you. I can tell you right now, we have to make a shift. Okay. So, in order for me to be able to truly make it, especially in this economy, me going live just once a day no longer is going to be as good. A lot of people don't always have time to watch me on live, which I can kind of understand that, right? I don't have all the time in the world to watch people on live either. So my thoughts are is I can be better, but I might just need a little bit of guidance. So I've had to find the professionals who do it better than I am, and I am not scared to ask them. I've gone to multiple businesses who did lives and are also, I see them only going live like twice a week. And I'm like, girl, I still see you traveling. I need to know what you're doing. And it has humbled me enough, and I'm humble enough to know that I have to ask for advice and help from other people. And that's where I started getting an analyzer. And she was like, Jeaneane, you're really good at these three things. She said my why was aligned, my 3 points were aligned. I just don't think you're buying enough in these items, and you need to do better with that. And you need to get a better website. And it was kind of hard to hear that because you're like, I put my heart and soul into the freaking website I have. And she's like, no, you got to do it better. And I'm so thankful that she has, we call it los cojones, to tell me that. And I'm so thankful to not have yes people always by my side. I like no people. I want people to tell me, hey, nicely, you suck. And I think that you can do it better. And she's never said it like that. And most of my business, what do we call each other? You're my business pace partner. When I've contacted my business pace partners, they're like, there's always a better way. So that is one thing, like to really sum it all up. If you want to grow in this business, there's always a better way to do it. And if you are not best at it, it's time to pick up the phone and go ask for help. And for us old dogs, we can learn new tricks. You just might have to get a young whippersnapper to actually teach it to you.
Yeah, it's I'm glad you didn't say that, oh, it's easy to make the shift, because it's really not. Like, for people who have a lot of success having a brick and mortar and they love that, more power to you. Like Goyard, the luxury bag company, they do not sell anything of theirs online. And they want you to visit their boutiques, and that's how they want to sell you their product. And there's still some boutiques that come to us at market. They say, yep, I've just, I've been 20 years, same location on Main Street, and I don't have a website. We want you to come in and shop with us. And then you have, people like you who thrive online, right? But you have to go with what's in your DNA as and where your customers are, and go all in on that experience. So there's probably some aspiring boutique owners that watch you and see what you've done, and then they think, man, will I ever get there? Imagine I take your whole following away, everything you've built, and you were to start from scratch. What would you do?
All right. So, one, it's happened to me. So, I'm not speaking from, oh man, what if this happened? It could be doomsday. I lived doomsday for 4 months, and that's probably where a lot of my depression came from, to be honest, because my identity was in my followers, and my identity was in my sales, and my identity was in the boutique. So, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. number one. Okay. But it might happen, number one. But then two, do I think the boutique world is for everyone? No, I really don't. I used to say absolutely. So we actually lost our entire following for 4 months. And that was the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But it also goes to show you that you can lose it all or start from the very bottom and still make it. Now, I don't believe that the business world is for everyone. I think it's an emotional roller coaster that sometimes I love it and sometimes I don't. I can promise you that yes, I'm very thankful for my faith. I'm also very thankful that my husband's by my side and has been encouraging me the entire way. So I've had a great, great, great foundation and I've had a backbone that's by my side at all times. But when it comes to starting from the very beginning, and again, I wouldn't wish losing my following on anyone. That was really difficult. Number one is you have to keep the faith and believe in yourself. People, first of all, you have to keep the faith because that's how you keep forward. If you don't, if you know your why, then you know what you're aspiring to do. You know what you're trying to do at the end of the day. And you have that faith. You have to have that confidence to know you're going to be able to survive. A lot of boutiques keep closing down, and yet we're still here standing. Why? One, the Lord still wants us here. But then two, I also know that we're something so much more than a boutique. We're an amazing company that genuinely cares about their customers, cares about their well-being, cares about their kids. We pray about them every single day, pray for them, excuse me. And truly being myself is so important. Just like you on the other end, you have to be on yourself. I'm not going to go on a big tangent on that because we've already talked about that. But keeping that faith and knowing that you are good enough to succeed in this lifetime, you have to keep that faith because people like confident humans. But that's not only for people to see you, it's also you need to have that faith in yourself and that confidence in yourself because if you don't, nobody is going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to shop from that unconfident human. I can't wait." No, you got to have some confidence. I'm not saying like pompous. I'm just saying confidence. You need to believe in yourself because you're giving permission to the other person on the other screen that they can believe in themselves. Number two, consistency. Not everything is going to be a freaking banger. Okay. If I got 22.5, that's the most million views we have. If I had 22.5 million views on every single video, I could close down my store tomorrow and live off of just the Facebook proceeds. Easily, easily. But it's not my reality. I'm sometimes going to get thousands of views. Sometimes I might I have a couple of ones that have gone completely viral. But for the most part, they're at 30, 40, 50,000, 60,000 views, whatever it is, right? And you just have to keep doing it because imagine this. If you had, and I actually read an article about this, imagine you had 100 people in your store right now. Would you not be elated? Like that would be freaking awesome. So that's when I started realizing stop getting into the comparison of I don't have enough views. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough that. Freaking own it. Just own it and post consistently. But with that too, it's also going live consistently. And that's why it doesn't matter if I have the flu, if I'm sick or something like that. As long as I can muscle through it, I will go live. There is no excuses for business owners. We don't have a choice but to get back up. Now, if my daughter has a cheerleading event, I will stop absolutely everything to go to that cheerleading event because that is why I do this business in the very beginning, anyways. It's for the freedom of time and to be present with my children. There's nothing that I value more than being involved. They might think I'm overkill, but they don't want what's opposite of that, which is a completely uninvolved parent. I'm not, I won't be that mom. I refuse. Number three, fail fast and pivot quickly. I get comfortable. I get super comfortable so bad that I own a boutique and I will wear the same outfit multiple times. Specifically, your blue dress from Grace and Emma. It is a little bit short on me, okay, because I'm putting a size small. I'm clearly going to be a medium in this dress. And I feel so confident and so pretty in it, and it's so easy for me. I never have to change it up. That's not reality. Reality is, if you don't change it up and you're sitting your butt in stagnant water, you're going to get stale, you're going to get an infection, and then you're going to eventually die. It's not that dramatic. In the boutique world, you're going to close. So my reality is you have to fail quickly, try new things, try absolutely everything, pivot quickly if it doesn't work. This is something I told my husband recently. I'm like, dude, we used to sell like every brand, and now we only sell like a couple. He's like, well, I was just kind of scared to try new things, and I'm like, why? Why? I know why. We went through 2 really rough years where we weren't willing to leave our house. We weren't living there not because we were scared of people. We were scared of what would happen when we leave our house, maybe for my children or stuff like that. So that's when we kind of saw a little bit of a dip in our sales for our boutique. And it's because we were not being fun and exciting and trying new things. Going to market makes me feed off of humans. I love human interaction. I love being with people. And I lost my way because instead of surrounding myself with people who understood, I'm surrounding myself with people who are like, oh, you're fine. You're doing great just the way you are. No, this world gives you the Lord gives you this amazing world. You can have it all if you want to. You can have your cake and eat it too. But if you're not surrounding yourself with people who have that same tenacious attitude and that excitement and that zeal when it comes to life, you're just going to be mediocre. And if you're content with being mediocre, there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to be extra because I truly just want the freedom that comes with it. I want to be able to travel the entire world. So what do is I bring my entire boutique with me everywhere I go. I'm the hardest working, one of the hardest working humans that I know, but that's because if you want to live like no one else, you better work like no one else. And that's the Dave Ramsey way. And I've always been like that. I spend money like no one's business, which means I have to work like no one's business done. So failing fast is fine. You got to try new things, but you better pivot quickly. Number 4, ask for help. I can be a little stubborn when it comes to that. But this year I can remember I was on my massage table. I love getting massages. I don't know what came over me. Who knew that I could sit down for longer than 10 minutes? And I sat there and had a huge aha moment. You know, I needed to be medicated because of everything that was going on in my life. I was on Adderall for a really long time. And I had I had an awakening. I was laying there and I was like, Jeaneane, if you want to do better, then go ask people who are doing better than you. I called 7 of my business friends on a Sunday morning. Mind you, most of us do not work on Sundays. All 7 people either picked up or called me back within an hour. And I literally called everyone to make a collaboration with them, to make custom pieces for me, to sit there and, hey, I want to sell your stuff, whatever it was. It was 7 yeses across the board. I don't think that that's normal. I don't know if it's maybe because the Lord or maybe people are like, dude, where has she been? But all 7 people were like, heck yeah, we want to get on board. Let's freaking go. And I found this new thing that if I ask for help because I can't figure it out, that doesn't mean I'm stupid or dumb or not capable. That just means that this girl wants to grow and she wants to be the best. I can promise you right now, Kim Kardashian didn't rise to the top because she's the only one that had the only ideas. She asked for help from Kylie, from her mom, for all these people, from her producers and all this. You are not a one woman show. Sometimes I feel alone in this game, right? That is self inflicted. That just means you're not talking to the right people. You know, just listening to podcasts every single day is not going to grow my business. I don't even hear about online boutique podcasts. I don't even know if they exist. But the reality is yes, listening to these podcasts is great. But what if I just picked up the phone and contacted person who already is in the midst of it and doesn't mind like telling me the good, bad, and ugly and is okay with pointing out some of the things I could do better. And then lastly, tell everyone about your business. This is a contact sport. Open your mouth.
Yes.
Now, for the love of God, do not go to a church just to get people to come buy your clothes and then go to a different church to find new community. It can be done a little bit more organically than that. I just heard of a horror story like that. That's probably why MLMs get a really bad rep. For the love of God, it can be done naturally. Perfect example. I sell to all 50 states. We have checked it. I have traveled to 40 out of the 50, and every single state, I tell everyone and their mom who I am and what I do. It is not done in a real flamboyant, is that the word? Like real, like,
Yeah, loud way. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not done in a loud way. It is if you dress what you like, dress nice. Again, it's a little difficult for me because remember, blue, white floral dress. That's kind of what I wear every single day. I actually got rid of it. I'm like, it hurt my heart, but I had to rip off the bandit because if not, I was going to keep on wearing it. But I have it in green. So I'm just going to start wearing it in green. It's fine. But if you can make it in yellow, that'd be great. So, anyways, the point is I was like, I have to get back to telling everyone about my business and not being ashamed. There's nothing to be shameful about that you support your family. So I used to kind of get like, oh, like, again, this is my 2 years. This is like my dark times that I went through. I didn't tell anyone about my business. Well, if you don't see your business growing, you're not opening your mouth enough. You want me to tell you the best advertisement is you.
Yep.
Open your mouth and go tell people. So yesterday while I was at Disney, I just told a couple of people and they all sent me PMs. You're so nice. Thank you so much. I was not talking to them about my boutique. I was talking to them because the line was crazy and I just wanted to play. Like we played this game with people, the flip game.
Heads up.
Where you
Yeah.
have to Yeah, we play heads up with people. We just genuinely talk to people. Like, that's my natural gift. So it's a contact sport. Actually, talk to human beings. Then instead of you having to pay ads to get more customers, just be a genuinely good person. People want to support good people. It's a very simple concept. So to close it all up, if you lost your platform, okay, or you're starting from the very bottom, those 5 points to success really I'm practicing what I preach. It's something I do on a daily basis.
I think what one thing that you said about like you can listen to all these podcasts and try to learn constantly, but you need to have a bias for action. You need to just act, go and make the sale or go and like talk about it with a stranger and stuff, but not in, it needs to be in a human connection way, not like, hey, can't tell you about my boutique. Like that's not the right way to do it. It is like someone complimenting your style and then you say, yeah, it's something I carry at my boutique. That's how you start the conversation about it. What would you say was a defining moment in your life, something that shapes who you are today?
I struggled with this one because it's not one. I think when you grow up, sometimes like never feeling good enough. My gosh, see, like my main one was the word was just failure.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to dark places, so I have a really good thing. I probably need to go to a therapist about this. I don't remember negative things. It's I can't. If I did, I would, dude. You think I would need to be heavily sedated and medicated if I really remembered the darkest of darkest things I've gone through. I just don't want to go to that point. So I probably would say the negative would be that one that we talked about earlier. But I would probably say when you have been raised by, I talked about Tati a lot, but that's because she died. But my grandma Joy, just as influential. When it comes to my grandmother and her stories and what she went through, I know if she can make it, so can I. So my grandmother Tati came here from Cuba legally, and she came here with nothing. She came here with a dream. She came here with tenacity, grit. She couldn't speak English. She grabbed her kid, told my husband, and back then her husband. Back then, it was frowned upon to get divorced, and she's like, "You either coming with me or I'm out." And because she could feel what was going on in Cuba. And she would walk miles to go eat rice. She worked in a factory that had trolls in it, and she would glue the trolls in their stomach. Okay, to this day, I still see the little stupid little troll thing, their little fat cheeks and their little pink belly button. I'm like,
Like
oh
literally
my
the troll
god, that's so
dolls.
cute, huh?
You're literally the troll dolls.
Yes, I just think they're so cute, but she sat there and put those little buttons on there. I actually was
Oh
a
my
troll one
God.
day for Halloween, and I was like, "No one knows. I'm just cool like Tati." But the reality is I have no excuse for not being successful. My grandmother came here as a legal refugee. She didn't know the language. She didn't know how to drive. She didn't have the nicest husband on the planet. Okay. We don't even need to open up those can of worms. But she had the faith that she could make it. And she ended up, when she passed, she had 20 properties in her name. And I just kind of feel like if a woman like her, who really wasn't given everything, right? She wasn't put in the right schools. She didn't have the right job. She didn't have the right connections, could make something of herself. So can I, and so can anyone else in this lifetime. I
Yes.
really do believe it. And I kind of feel like anytime I feel sorry for myself, I'm like, Tati didn't know how to speak English, okay? Tati would go to people's houses and be like, I want to buy your dirt. And what she was trying to say is, I want to buy your land, okay? And then they would say, you crazy Cuban, you get out of here. That's how she would say it. And then she just literally pretty much taught me that and showed me that you are capable of doing anything if you just believe you're going to fail and you need to get back up. Failure is a part of life. That does not mean that you are not capable. That just means you need to try something a little bit differently. I can now, while writing this book, I'm realizing that these 2 last years of failure are to make me stronger. You can tell me anything now, and I'm like, talk to the hand, the face, whatever, the phone ain't home, however that saying is. I am not affected by people anymore. I'm not affected by people's hate, their nastiness. My grandmother could have taught me all that, and she said it. I had to understand failure for myself to have the grit and the thick skin in order to survive being a human, period. But more than that, being a boutique owner, because a business owner, because the reality is that's what being a business is. It's putting out fires, figuring how to do things better. You're the marketer, you're the buyer, you're the seller, you're the designer. You are everything. And that weighs on your heart. Well, sometimes you got to, lack of better words, you got to go through some shit to have the strength to be able to get through it.
Yeah.
And my grandmother went through everything. And that's why she was as strong and as incredible as she is. And unfortunately, I have to go through my stuff too, and I don't think I would have the strength that I have today if it wasn't for the failures in my life, for not feeling good enough, for not feeling worthy enough, for not feeling capable. But dude, eventually, after you failed enough, you realize, you know what? I'm more than capable. I'm no different than anyone else. I can do absolutely anything. But sometimes you need a couple people in your life to pave the way for you. And that would have definitely been my grandma Tati.
That's amazing. So, as an entrepreneur, you have to live and breathe your business. You're a wife and a mom of three. You have a lot going on. So, what advice would you give entrepreneurs who are trying to seek balance?
Okay. This is really difficult for me, but I'm telling you right now, with laying down these boundaries, I don't feel that my kids feel second anymore. I don't want my husband to feel second. I don't want my children to feel second. I want my children and my husband to know that they are my number one priority. So, number one is you have to set a freaking time limit to do your task. I have ADHD. Do you know how difficult it is for me to stay focused? It's so hard. Get over it. Too bad. It's just your reality. If it takes you forever to do something, set a time limit. It takes me an hour to do my pictures without a time limit. With a time limit, I get it done in 30 minutes. They're just as good, they're just as fast. Number two, I work hard so I can play even harder, but when I play hard, I want to stay all in. My work is not my identity. There were times, excuse me, I told you I burp all the time. And I don't even mean to. It just comes out. It's so embarrassing. Whatever. Okay. So I'll be on my phone at the dinner table. What does that say to the human in front of me? You're not
Clearly less
important.
important. Yeah.
You're not important. The reality is you're on your phone because you want to provide for that person in front of you. Therefore, your phone is not allowed at any kitchen table ever. And this one is not always I practice what I preach. It is my goal. So if my 3 children and my husband are in front of me, I will leave my phone in the car. but they have to be with me though. You know what I mean? Because I need to be reachable if one of them needs me. But those two things have been a game changer in my business. And that's why I didn't want to miss it because I would be on all day long. I'm sorry. Why? What is the point of that? You're supposed to work for yourself so that you can have freedom of time. And you're sitting there constantly on your phone. That's not a life. That is, you are a slave to your business. I can't have that. I can't. So that is one thing that I have learned. Everything has a time limit, no matter what. And when you are with your loved ones, you have got to put that phone away because that will literally ruin absolutely everything that you just work for. Because if I want to build this beautiful legacy, I got to take my kids with me and I got to teach them. So that quality time that I put into them is so important. So I just want to make sure we touched on that.
I love that you said the phone thing because as especially like when you're in the e-commerce business and stuff, you want to check the orders that are coming in. You want to see like this and that, like what are people buying and everything. I've told my kids this that, oh, sorry, love, I'm looking at my phone because we got an order or I need to review this order for someone or I got an email from a customer. And the other day, my daughter Emma, she said, Dad, do you ever wish there was two of you that one could do work and one could that could be with us? And she meant it in the way like, oh, I know my dad is good. He wants to, of course, spend time with me and do work. But that's actually my choice to make sure she knows that I'm making the choice to be present for her.
Right.
And I think we let our phone control us a little way too much sometimes. That is a goal that all of us should have. Jeaneane, one thing I love about you is how strong you are in your faith. Every time I talk with you, I feel rejuvenated with like the goodness of what faith brings. So to send us off on this episode, could you say a prayer for me and the listeners?
Absolutely. All right. Bow your head, close your eyes, or on Wednesday night church. I'm just kidding. All right, Lord, I ask that you help me to step aside and please help this prayer to not be me speaking, but you, Lord. I thank you so much for a deal and for Grace and Emma, Lord. And we're just so thankful for just their tenaciousness and their love and their kindness and their entire team. And I just ask that you bring blessings over their family. I thank you, Lord, that a deal always sees the good in me, even though I am a royal pain in the butt, Lord, and I don't always see the good. I ask that you just continue to bless these collaborations, Lord, that you continue to bless our businesses, continue to bless our viewers and their businesses, Lord. Trying really, really, really hard to try to manage the ups and downs and the roller coaster emotions of owning a business is exhausting. But Lord, I know at the end of the day, as long as we are trying to glorify you, Lord, that you will help us to be successful. I ask that you help every single viewer, every single family represented, that you bless them from the top of their head down to their toes with good health. You bless their finances. Please continue to help our businesses, Lord. Just help the floodgates of just blessings to come through. Help us to make the best choices, have the best staff, and please continue to bless all of our customers. Amen.
Amen.
I do that before every live. I'm nervous to get on live, and I'm like, Lord, you need to give me peace before I pee my pants before live.
I love that.
So
Jeaneane, thank you so much for your time. This was so meaningful to me. I really appreciate it. It was meaningful to me. I know it's going to be meaningful to so many.
thank you for having me.
All right. We love you guys. Take care.
Love you guys. All right, bye.
Bye.